guests are tonight.
Holy cap job, boss! First up, one of Batman's original writers, Stanley Ralph Ross!
Come on, Howard.
Holy foxy feline, it's Catwoman Julie Newmar!
Howard.
Howard, anyone else?
Hold on, old chum. Alfred.
The bathroom, sir.
Thank you, Alfred. Commissioner Gordon, there's only one man that can complete this show.
It's Batman Adam West!
This is going to be a show that you can participate in all the way, all right? We want you. You're the folks who have made this show popular, kept it popular through some 25 years now as we celebrate that anniversary. Let me go to Adam first and say, Adam, however many years ago it was, and it was a few years ago, what in the world were you thinking of when you read the Batman script? Did you say to yourself, well, I've been making a pretty good living in this business, and now my stupid agent wants me to do this?
That's it.
I thank you for joining us tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Morton, I really, first of all, I thought about how itchy the tights were going to be. And the temperature inside the, no, seriously, all it took was my reading a brilliant Batman script, our pilot script, by Lorenzo Semple Jr. I thought it was so refreshing and so different, unusual, that I really wanted to do that project. And I was on my way back to Europe to do another film. And I said, no way, I'm going to stay and do this thing.
Did it bother you or trouble you when you realized that, okay, I really want to do this, it's a brilliant script, I'm going to be in this costume, I'm an actor, and one of the things that actors like is to be recognized, let's face it, until all of a sudden they are recognized, then you wonder how the heck you can get away from that again. But did you say to yourself at that time, if this is a success, what the heck, I'm going to be okay because nobody's going to know I was there anyhow?
No.
Did you ever think that it could, did you ever think, you have an interview all the time. Did you ever suspect for a minute that this might just totally, I mean, you might end up like the hump on Lon Chaney's back?
Yes.
Be there forever? Yes.
That's
Well,
a very
this
good image, Mort. No, I didn't. I did. Humping Lon Chaney's, what? No, I really, I had some doubts about that because I had what I thought was a serious career starting, and I thought, you know, I'm going to get buried in this thing, but really, to repeat what I said earlier, I was so enthusiastic about it and what was happening, and the chance to go on twice a week in color, the first show of its kind, that I said, yeah, I want to do that. But the main thing is, when I read it, I fell down laughing 8 times.
Stanley Ralph Ross, let me ask you a question.
He wrote the best stuff for Batman imaginable.
Stanley Ralph Ross wrote the best?
Yeah.
What were your goals with the script? Comedy or satire or both?
Oh, I just wrote stuff that would please me, and
Strange man.
I wrote a lot of funny stuff into the scripts that the audience never saw. I mean, like, one of the things I would do is I would write dirty words in obscure foreign languages.
And they used those words in language?
They would use them, but you see, what is a dirty word? In another language, it's not a dirty word. I would name characters, these obscure names.
Such as?
Well, gamahooch, minette. These are words that I can't even tell you what they mean in English.
Yamaguchi is what, an Italian word?
No, it's a French, 18th century French. We started getting letters in from linguists, and linguists saying, very funny, you know, like they thought it was funny, and now the ABC guys started looking closely at the scripts. So I wrote one character in one of your shows, the Miff and Tiff of Furderber, and they said, that sounds like Furburger. I said, no. It's just, so they made me change it. So I changed it. It was an Arab character, Tashik Ibn Kedab, and they said, that's fine, until they found out that means in Arabic. Then they really started watching me very closely.
Julie, what do you recall really the first time you met the other cast members?
I think they were sucking me about and wham, bang, and we were going right into our ballet routine.
So, I mean, you just walked right into action.
Right into action.
You began with
Not
that.
only that, they would shoot the rehearsals. If they thought you could do it, they could get away with it.
When they shot the
would.
rehearsals, would they sometimes, Stanley, get a finished product?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely. And all of the Catwoman shows, I mean, I wrote a sexual tension between them, because I think I wrote every Catwoman show, and I wrote sexual tension between them, and everybody would be calling us saying, when are they going to get? I said, hey, it's a kid's show, give me a break.
But you know, I have to add to that writing sexual tension is very difficult when you've got two characters in those funny costumes. I mean, but you did a great job because, well, yes, this is the reason, too, that it happened, you see. I had a line where I said, Catwoman gives me curious stirrings in my utility belt.
Catwoman gave a lot of young men in those days curious feelings in their utility, whatever.
Yes.
It usually started about age 8.
That young?
Yeah.
Didn't start with me till I was 11. Question, how'd you ever get paired with Ward?
Burt Warren?
Yeah.
I had signed to do it, and they said they wanted to test a young guy for Robin. I said, okay, I'm not going to test because, you know, I'm not in that situation now, but I will test with him to see if the chemistry's there and so on. Well, one day I was on the stage, the crew was standing by, and I saw off to this side a very tall, red-headed guy, about 6'7", hand in hand with a young, very slim, bird-like creature.
Bird-like or bird-like?
Bird-like. Walking toward me. It was our director with Burt Ward. And Burt came over, we had a little conversation, we started the scene. Mort, the chemistry, I knew this would ignite. The moment that Burt said, holy guacamole, Batman! And I mean, no, there was such enthusiasm, you know, in the hand and the thing.
How come they kept him out of the movie?
Yeah.
Oh, I want to get to some favorite episodes next, all right? And then Julie's brought up something that I think we want to examine also. Stand by, everybody.
Mort will be back to confound you even more. Just a moment.
All right, I would like to come right down the aisle and find out favorite episodes. Your favorite episode.
The favorite one I wrote or the favorite one the way it turned out?
Favorite one the way it turned out. We'll forget whether you wrote it.
The way it turned out was the one where you finally said to him, listen, we can team up. I know crime, I know criminal, I know the criminal mind, and we can team up, and you and I can be the greatest crime-fighting force in history. And he said, what about Robin? And she said, and you said, Robin? We'll kill him. That was my favorite one, the way it turned out.
Julie, other than episode number 1, what was your favorite episode?
I have 2 of them. Stanley wrote them all. That's why they're all so great, and he made the Catwoman famous. But once he wrote a character called Miss Klutz.
Yeah, Edna Klutz, right?
Oh, it was so marvelous. I had such a great time in the wardrobe department. Teaching Bert how to dance, and the other one is when I played the 80-year-old woman and got to make love to
Jim Brolin.
Jim Brolin.
That's right. It was Jim Brolin's first part. He was dating the casting director. I think that's
I hate to ask, how old was Jim in those days?
Jim was about 11, I guess. I don't know. His first part. Yeah.
How about it? Your favorite episode?
Mort, you said aside from the first segment? which
Yeah.
I love because
Yeah.
it set the tone for the whole show. I have a wonderful, whimsical kind of memories of a lot of them. But there was one, again, and not stroking Mr. Ross here, but with Catwoman, something you wrote, Stanley, in which I put her in the slammer. And she was about to go, you know, to Gotham State Prison. And I was really trying to be very sad under my mask about that. But, well, I was. But then she said to me, she said something about, well, could we date after I get out?
Was that written or was that an improvisation?
No, it was written.
That was written.
Was there a lot of improvisation on the set?
Not on my scripts.
No?
The greatest
Strictly
thing-
body language improvisation?
Oh, perfection. The greatest thing you can have in life is a great script, because that's the whole heart of a show.
Thank you.
All right, let me ask you. If that's true, and there has to be improvisation, at least
Not with
in the attitude.
No, it was choreography to these brilliant
Well,
ideas and words
As a
and
dancer,
adjectives and
you would
everything.
know choreography, all right?
Yes, that's-
But most actors, if they are good actors, are able to choreograph at least their emotions into the script. Am I correct? Into your verbiage?
No, not in
the,
Stanley's
the
script.
script is pretty, the scripts were pretty well set because we were dealing on tight schedules. We were working. There was hardly any deviation from it.
No.
There's one story that bears, one show she didn't do. You were doing McKenna's Gold, I guess, the movie, and Eartha Kitt became the Catwoman. And in this particular script that I wrote, Batman and Catwoman were going to get married on the Staten Island ferry, and the captain of the Staten Island ferry is going to marry them because she had him under a gun. ABC calls me and says, you can't do that. I said, why not? They said, well, it's miscegenation. I said, I beg your pardon. They said, well, she's black and he's white and they're going to get married. I said, are you serious? This is Gotham City. This is not real. They're not going to consummate this marriage.
This was ABC?
Yeah.
And this is what year?
Oh, this is 67, I guess. And I said, I'm going to get them married. They're not going to consummate it. By the time they reach Gotham City, she will have been caught. And I had to fight like crazy to keep that in.
Boy.
Yeah.
And we haven't come too much farther since then.
Oh, no, we have come up.
Come
No,
too far.
Julie, can you still do the...
You did it pretty good.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Let's go to loudmouth number one over there. My pal, what do you got on your mind?
It's all about Julie.
Okay.
You're so beautiful. And you're such a wonderful actress. I have to ask, what did you think of Michelle Pfeiffer's portrayal as Catwoman?
I thought she was wasted. Because she's so brilliant,
Not used
so
properly or
imaginative.
drunk?
No,
Or perhaps both.
no,
Wonderful actress.
she's the best thing to hit Hollywood in 25 years. She didn't have Stanley's script.
I've got to tell you.
What she had was 8 pounds of makeup, and it made her eyes red, and she was always uncomfortable in those 6-inch heels, and they had all this tricksterism that had nothing to do with the heart and soul of what a show is, and that has to come from human beings themselves. I shouldn't say actors.
I want to come back in a second with the next segment, and let's talk about the people that they selected for the motion picture, all right?
Okay.
More importantly, you must know you were every young kid's fantasy, and you know what? And you know what? The fantasy lives on, doesn't it?
Yeah.
She's beautiful. We'll be back in just a moment.
Stay tuned, because pretty soon, something mind-boggling when Morton comes back in just a moment.
Some of the things...
You have a rabid audience. You've got a rabid audience.
Yeah,
This is
they've
great.
all been bitten by rats. Something that stands out in my mind, Stanley, is all the cameos that you had. You guys with that show really originated cameos.
Well, one thing you have to know, when we had to do that, the people, when you climbed up the side of the building, and you'd open it up, we never knew who was going to be. They'd call me up in the morning and say, okay, Don Ho is going to be there. Like, what? Remember Don? Yeah, what do you write funny for Don Ho? And then one day, Mr. Dozier had a friend of his who'd sold him a lot of Persian rugs, and he put that guy in the show. The Persian rug king. What do you write about this guy?
We'd
have to write those. Yeah, we'd have to
the
write
early
those.
trade-outs.
Yeah.
Oh, Pierre Salinger was in the show.
Sure.
Played Lucky Pierre, the attorney.
Jerry Lewis.
We had a lot of people.
Sammy
You
Davis.
know what was different about that show? Your violence was really only in pow, bam. Do you remember the gang? Remember those words? There was really
There was never bloodshed.
Never bloodshed.
Nobody was ever killed, murdered, nothing like that. And the fights were all kind of silly, you know, and over the head bonk and zap. And
There was a funny story. I get a call from Howie Horowitz, our late producer. He says, Stanley, we have to do this show. We can't afford a fight scene. We just don't have, it was like 3 villains in the show. We cannot afford a fight scene.
Yeah, the
but we
money
need
to
a
pay
fight,
the
yes,
stunts.
because we couldn't have stunt people on regular. He says, but we need a fight. I said, well, what are you saying? He said, we can't afford a fight scene, but we need a fight. I said, well, how am I supposed to do that? He said, that's why you get paid the big money. So I wrote a show where they had invisibility pills. And they took these pills, the bad guys, either as Catwoman and King Tut and somebody else, and Batman and Robin were by themselves on the stage going bam, boom, just falling around the place. And then he comes up with the idea to turn off the lights so everybody's dark. Now there's nothing on screen except bam, bow, and when it comes up, they're all there. They're all there.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Whose idea was it? Whose idea was it to come up with the pows and the bams and that?
Oh, it's either Lorenzo's or Dozier's, I don't know.
it started with Bill Dozier and Lorenzo Semple.
Yeah.
Early on.
Bill
Yeah.
Dozier was the announcer, you know. The executive producer is the guy who said, same cat time, same cat channel. He loved that. He loved being a performer, and he was one of the best men I ever worked with.
Any reunions? I guess this is one of the reunions. There should have been reunions for this. It's a piece of Americana.
You know, Mort, I have maybe an odd viewpoint on that, but I don't like reunions unless it's like this, where we can sit and visit a little bit, get to know each other. But the reunion shows that are staged with story and so on, and you come back now 25 years later.
Now, what do they look like?
No, I don't want to do reunions because we did our thing, and it worked. It was wonderful.
Yeah, I went to my wife's reunion, all right?
Yes,
My
you know what I mean.
ex-boyfriend spilled beer in my lap. I don't like reunions.
Yeah, same thing would happen.
Well, you still look as good as you did 25 years ago.
Thank you.
On the other hand, Stanley, you got a problem. Julie, you were always beautiful. You've all played a large part in television history and in our lives. Thank you for getting together with us. You gave us beautiful time.
Next time, Mort will attempt the impossible. He'll do the entire program handcuffed and upside down. Won't you join us? I'm out.